We continue now at the top of Daf Chaf Beis Amud Aleph in Meseches Sotah. This is Sotah Daf 22a. The Gemara is in the middle of offering different explanations of what a Rasha Arum is, what is a cunning Rasha. And Ula's answer now is an individual who is Shakara Vishana. He's learned Psukim, he's learned Mishnayos, V'lo Shimesh Talmidei Chachamim. But he's not served Talmidei Chachamim, which means he hasn't learned what we refer to as Gemara. Rashi says Shakara Mikra, he's read Psukim, Vishana Mishnah, and he's learned Mishnah. V'lo Shimesh Talmidei Chachamim Lilmod Svaras HaGemara, B'taimei HaMishnah Mahim. He hasn't learned the logic of the Gemara, meaning the reasons behind the Mishnah. Rashu shein Toraso al Bori. He's a Rasha because his Torah is not complete. Vein lilmod heimenu shal yedei hatam yesh chiluk b'isur v'heter. You can't learn from him because through the reasons behind the halacha, that's how you make distinctions in terms of isur and heter, v'dinei mominus liskos ulechayev, and when it comes to monetary issues, uvetaros latam v'latar, when it comes to issues involving taharos, kedomer bekama duchti, like we say in many reasons. My time amar marhachi. Why does so and so say this or that? V'yamar my beinayu ikei beinayu kach v'kach. We say what's the difference between the two opinions? The difference is the following. V'aramhu, now he's also considered a cunning kind of Rasha. Shashomeas kolo shona mishnayos, because somebody hears him saying over mishnayos, kisavar shu baki b'tameim, so people think that he understands the reasons. B'nohagen bo kavod kitalmidei chachamim, and they treat him with the respect, with the honor of a talmid chacham. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. Itmar, we have the following machlokas amuroim karav v'shana v'loshimish talmidei chachamim. Let's say you have a person again who reads psukim and learns mishnayos, but doesn't serve talmidei chachamim. Rabbi Lozer Omer Hareza Am Ha'oretz. Rabbi Lozer says this person is considered an Am Ha'oretz. Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachmani Omer Hareza Bor. Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachmani says this person is considered a bor. Rabbi Yanai Omer Hareza Kusi. Rabbi Yanai says this person is considered a kusi. Rav Acha Bar Yaakov Omer Rav Acha Bar Yaakov says Hareza Mogush. This person is considered a sorcerer. Omer Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak says Mistavra Rav Acha Bar Yaakov. It makes sense to say like Rav Acha Bar Yaakov the Amri Inshi Rotin Megusha V'lo Yada Mayamar, because people say that the sorcerer chants and he doesn't know what he's saying. So Tani Tana, so to this individual, he teaches V'lo Yada Mayamar. He teaches, but he doesn't know what he's teaching. Rashi over here says Itmar Garas Hareza Ama Oretz. What does it mean he's an Ama Oretz? Shechoshed al Maisros V'ala Taharos. That means somebody who is suspect when it comes to taking off Meiser and when it comes to keeping things pure. And a bor is Garua Me Amoretz. A bor is even considered worse than an Amoretz. Kusi, meaning he's like a kusi. V'aser lechol pito v'yeno. It's forbidden to eat his bread. It's forbidden to eat his wine. The kevan shelo shimesh chachamim, because since he didn't serve the chachamim, eino makvad al divrei chachamim l'daitam v'lo shona el haros atzma katal min chacham. It means that he's not really strict regarding the words of the chachamim in terms of understanding them, and he's only learning this in order to show off himself as a talmid chacham. Therefore, he's treated again like a kusi, like a Samaritan. And Magush is a sorcerer. Mechashef, again, a sorcerer. Ha'ochez esoinayim v'gonev esalavavos. V'yavsakain is a person who essentially misleads people. Rotin targum chover chaver hu Magush. Again, this is the chants that said by the sorcerer. Lochesh ha'mechashef es lachoshev ve'enu mevin mahim. He chants what he says, but he doesn't understand what he's saying. Uma perushim, he doesn't understand the explanation. Al kach ma'aseyim shemechashvos ba al yedei osam alachashim. Just understands that this is what he's supposed to say, and that causes the kishuf to happen. Tani tana v'yavzet tana shalo shimesh betalmud shona mishnasa v'nei mai. The same thing is true with this tana, meaning to say the person who didn't learn Talmud, he didn't learn Gemara, but he learned his Mishnah, but he doesn't really know that he doesn't really know that which he is learning. And the Gemara continues, Tanu Rabbanon, the rabbis taught, Ezo Amaoretz, what's considered an Amaoretz, an ignoramus, Kol she'eno korei Kriya Shema Shacharis v'Arvis b'Birchoseh, Divrei Rabbi Meir. Anyone who doesn't read Kriya Shema in the morning and the evening with its brachos. V'chachamim omer, and the chachamim say, Kol she'eno maniach tefillin, anyone who doesn't put on tefillin. Ben Azai omer, Kol she'en lo tzitzis b'bigdor. Ben Azai says, anyone who doesn't have tzitzis. Rabbi Yonasan ben Yosef omer, Kol she'yesh lo bonim ve'eno megadlin lilmod Torah. Rabbi Yonasan ben Yosef says, anyone who has children but doesn't raise them to learn Torah. Acherim omer, others say, Afilu korei v'shona v'lo shimesh talmidei chachamim, even somebody who learns psukim and Mishnah but doesn't serve talmidei chachamim, zehu amaoretz, that person is considered an amaoretz. Kara v'lo shana, if he reads psukim but he doesn't learn Mishnah, harei zeh bor, he's considered a bor. Lo kara v'lo shana, if he doesn't learn psukim or Mishnah, all of hakasav omer, about him the pasuk says, v'zerati es beis Yisrael v'es beis Yehuda, zera adam v'zera behema, talks about the seed of man and the seed of animals, meaning such a person is compared to an animal. And Rashi explains, ezeu amaoretz, what's considered an amaoretz, shenechshar ala taharos ve'ala maisros, who's suspect in terms of taharos and maisros, umuchzak mago tamei, and that which he touches is considered tamei. Kal she'eno korei Kriya Shema, anyone who doesn't read Kriya Shema, dohavadai einu yodea klum, somebody who doesn't read Kriya Shema certainly doesn't know anything. Aval yodea likros v'korei lo amaoretz, but if he knows how to read and he reads Kriya Shema, so then he's not considered an amaoretz according to this opinion. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The pasuk in Mishlei says, Yeroas Hashem b'niva melech, my son, fear Hashem, v'im shonim al tesarev, and don't mix with those who are shonim with those who repeat. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak says, Elu shashonim halachas. This refers to people who repeat over, they learn halachas, but again, they're not meshamish talmidei chachamim, they don't learn the reasons behind those halachas. And the Gemara says, Pshita, isn't it obvious that this is how we interpret the pasuk? How else would we understand the word shonim? And the Gemara says, no, ma'u detema, what might you have said, shonin b'chet, that what shonim means is those who repeat a sin. And that would follow what Rav Huna said. The Yamar Rav Huna, because Rav Huna said, Kevan she'avar adam avera v'shana, but when somebody does an avera and then repeats it, hutralo, so it becomes as though it is permitted for that individual. So you might have interpreted the pasuk along those lines. Kamash malon. So that's what we're teaching over here, that the word shonim refers to somebody who learns halacha, who repeats it, but he doesn't understand the reasons behind that halacha. And the Gemara continues along the same lines. Tana hatanoi mevale olam. Those who are just the people who teach over the Tanaic sources, those are people, again, who erode the world. They destroy the world. The Gemara says, mevale olam salkadaitach. You think people who just memorize and teach over the teachings of Tanoim, they really destroy the world? Amar Ravina, so Ravina says, it refers specifically to people, shemorin halacha mitoch mishnasan. It refers to Tanoim. Again, when we're talking about Tanoim over here, we don't mean those who lived in the times of the Tanoim. We mean those who teach over, say over the teachings of the Tanoim. But these individuals who are mevale olam are the ones who issue halachic rulings based mitoch mishnasan, based on these mishnayos that they have memorized, and that is not something that is good to do because they don't understand the reasons behind these halachas. And the Gemara continues, Tanya Namihachi, we have a brisa like this as well. Amar Rabbi Yeshua says, V'chim mevale olam hein, are they really people who destroy the world? V'lo miyashve olam hein, they're people who actually settle the world. Shenemar, like it says, halichos olam lo, we darshan halichos like halachas, those who know halachas, again, those are olam lo, those are people who are the miyashve olam. And so the Gemara instead says, rather, what it means is, like we said above, Shemorin halacha mitoch mishnasan. This refers to people who they issue halachic rulings based on their Mishnah. And Rashi explains, Shemorin halacha mitoch mishnasan, they issue halachic rulings from their Mishnah, Kamar shemevalin olam, they destroy the world, bahuros tos, because the rulings are mistaken. The Kevan dein yodin tami ha-Mishnah, since they don't know the reasons of the Mishnah, pa'amim gorman shemedamin lo davar she'eino doma, they make comparisons that aren't good. V'yodi yesh mishnayis harbe de'amrinon hamani ploni v'chidohi. Also, there's a lot of mishnayos that are just the opinion of one individual. V'les hilchas hakavase, and the halach is not like that. V'yod she'enon yodim v'machlokas tanoim harishonim, they also don't know the earlier machlokas tanoim, halacha kedivrei mihu, the halach is like hilgach morin horos tos. Therefore, they give these rulings which are mistaken. And we quoted the pasuk again, halichos olam lo, means to say hashona halachas. It means somebody who learns over halachas, olam shalo bizuchuso, the world is his, meaning the world stands in his merit. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, Isha Prusha, a woman who is abstinent. That was another case of someone who destroys the world. And the Gemara says, Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Besula Tzalyonis, a Besula who prays, the Almana Shovavis, and a widow who's neighborly, the Katan Shalokalo Chadashav, and a Katan whose months of gestation were not finished. Hare Elu Mevale Olam. These are people, these are individuals who destroy the world. And the Gemara says, Ini, is this really the case? So Amar Rabbi Yochanan, but didn't Rabbi Yochanan say, Lamadnu yiras chet mi besula, we learn the fear of sin from a besula. V'kibol schar me almana, and we learn the idea of receiving reward from an almana. And the Gemara explains, yiras chet mi besula, we learn yiras chet from a besula. To Rabbi Yochanan shama lahi besula, because Rabbi Yochanan heard a particular besula, a particular virgin, denafla apa v'kamra ribona shalom, that she fell on her face, and she was saying, Master of the world, barasa gan eden u'barasa gehenim, you created gan eden and you created gehenim, barasa tzadikim u'barasa rishoim, you created tzadikim and you created rishoim. Yiratzam milfanecha shelo yikashlu bi b'nei adam, it should be your will that people shouldn't stumble over me. And so that's what we learn here from this besula, this concept of yiras chet. And the Gemara continues, Kibol schar me almana. We also learn the idea of receiving reward from an almana. Dahi almana dehava be kanishta b'shivavusa. There was an almana, she had a shul in her neighborhood. Kol yoma haves asyu matzla be midrashe to Rabbi Yochanan. But every day she would come and pray in the beis medrash of Rabbi Yochanan. Amar lo, he said to her, Biti lo beis hakneses b'shivavusech. My daughter, is there no shul in your neighborhood? Amar le Rabbi, so she said, Rabbi, v'lo schar psios, usually don't I get reward just for walking this distance to come to your shul? And so you see again that these seem to be, both of these individuals are considered to be good individuals. And the Gemara answers, Ki Ka'amar, no, what was being said when we said that this is Mevale Olam, that these are people who destroy the world, Kagon Yochani Basra TV. We're referring to an individual like Yochani Basra TV. Rashi over here says, Ki Ka'amar Mevale Olam, Kagon Yochani Basra TV, Almona Mechashefa Haisa. Yochani Basra TV was a widow and she was a Mechashefa. She was a sorceress. When the time came for a woman to give birth, she would close up the woman's womb using her sorcery. After the person was in a lot of pain, and then she would say, I'll daven for you. Maybe my tefillah will be listened to. She would undo her sorcery, and the baby would come out. One time there was somebody working by her house, and she went to this woman's house who was giving birth. And the person who was working there, he heard all of the sorcery going on. The same sounds were coming out of this vessel that are the sounds of a baby in the womb. He opened up this vessel, and the sorcery came out, and the child was born. And they knew that this woman, they knew that she was a sorceress. And the Gemara continues, My katan shelo kololo chadashav. What does it mean, a katan whose months of gestation have not finished? Hacha targimu, here they interpret it as follows, that Talmud Chacham hamevayit barabosav. It refers to a Talmud Chacham who rejects his Rebbeim. Rashi says hamevayit barabosav, he kicks his Rebbeis. V'kari le katan shelo kololo chadashav al yedei sheyamav miskatzrin. The reason why it's called lo kololo chadashav is because he has a short life. Kedaminu in parakam de chagiga, like we say in the first parak of chagiga. Rabbi Abba says, Zet Talmud shlo higia lahora. We're talking about a Talmud who hasn't reached the ability to issue halachic rulings. Umora, and he issues halachic rulings nonetheless. Because Rabbi Avo said that Rav Huna said that Rav said, "My dechsiv." What does it mean when it says in the pasuk, "Ki Ravim chalam hipila va'atzumim kol harugeh"? Means to say there are many that have been cut down, that have been destroyed by this individual. Ki Ravim chalolam hipila. When it says there are many that have been killed, Zet Talmud Chacham shelo higia lahora umora. That refers to our case, a Talmud Chacham who hasn't reached the level of being able to issue halachic rulings, and he issues them nevertheless, causes this kind of damage. Va'atzumim kol harugeh. Again, the strong ones also are among those that are killed. Who does that refer to? Zet Talmud Chacham. That refers to a Talmud Chacham shehigia lahora ve'enomor, who's able to issue halachic rulings, but he doesn't issue those rulings. And Rashi explains, Ki Ravim chalolim hipila. Again, the pasuk says that many have been struck dead by her. Be'isha zara mishtoi. The pasuk simple explanation is talking about a woman who is engaged in znus. V'talmud sheino noeg atzmo keshura. But a Talmud who doesn't behave properly, karli nami hachi, is also being referred to in this manner. Zet Talmud shelo higia hipila. Here we're darshaning the word hipila as lashon nefa, like a child that's born prematurely. Shelo kalu lo chadashav, who hasn't the months of gestation have not been completed. And Rashi continues, Va'atzumim. Again, the simple explanation of the pasuk is numerous are her victims, but the Gemara is darshaning over here, lashon otzim einav. We're darshaning the word atzumim as someone who closes his eyes. Shesogrim piyam ve'inam morim l'tzorchei oror, referring to Talmidei Chachamim. They close their mouths, they don't issue rulings when they are able to, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Chav Beis Amud Beis.